Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David and welcome to Mutant Mondays. That's right, this is a new thing that I'm doing because this ties in with my 40 before 40 challenge that I'm doing, where I'm reading through 40 different X-Men storylines in order to experience more of what the written comics have in store for me. Now, last week I kicked off my run on mutants on Wednesday by talking about the Astonishing X-Men, but it was not one of my 40 before 40s. So, we are officially knocking off the first one by talking about the House of M. See a great cover right there. Now, like last week, I'm going to attempt very, very much to avoid talking spoilers for at least a good portion of this. So we have the writer for House of M is Brian Michael Bendis. That's penciled by Oliver Copiel, inked by Tim Townsend and Rick Magar, Scott Hanna and John Dell, colorist by Frank Darmata, and letterer by Chris Iliopoulos, and then Isad Ribik doing the cover art. So, a whole bunch of names involved in this. So, the House of M. This takes place after a lot of mutants have been wiped they've been impacted tremendously previously in the past, but they're on the rise. It's getting to a point where there's so many mutants out there that exponentially there should, in theory, be millions of them. You know, at the rate in which the mutation has been going on, they've been coming up with so many mutants and feeling the pressure to continue to innovate and create new characters for the line that it was starting to get unwieldy and out of control. At least this is my understanding. And so, the House of M was created to deal with some of that issue here. And we start here. You can see the cover art there with the Scarlet Witch losing it. And we open with childbirth. With Wanda giving birth to twins. And you can see there all her friends, Stephen Strange. You know, you've got Quicksilver there, Cyclops, you've got Vision. All are there to help celebrate the birth of her children. And, you know, you can see there's Vision with her. They're very happy about it. But on the very next page, we have Professor X. He tells Wanda, we talked about this. Put it back. You have no children. There's no one in this room but you and me. And so that opens up our initial premise here in House of M. You have Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. And she is influencing reality. Not just in her own way, but her surroundings. And if all this sounds kind of familiar, then you probably watched WandaVision, in which she influenced a town into thinking they were part of a sitcom, with her and Vision being, you know, stars in that sitcom. And it went through various decades of sitcom parody, almost. It was done fine. It was enjoyable enough. But the parallel between WandaVision and the House of M is part of why I went ahead and started off with this. Because I wanted to see what influenced WandaVision. And because there's a point, I think it's in issue 7 out of 8 here, where Wanda utters a very, very memorable line. I'm not going to mention it yet. When I say I'm going to talk spoilers, I'll talk about it. But something very, very powerful happens that has repercussions going forward from X-Men. And so in the first issue, there's a lot of setting up. So, we've established Wanda's losing her mind. And then after that, we go to Magneto, who is there on the island with Charles. They're talking about Wanda. Then we cut to, and we get a nice little glimpse of our X-Men there. So, like in the last video, we have Beast, Emma Frost, Cyclops, Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, and we have Cyclops. So, a very familiar team with that very familiar walking in there. They are walking in with the Avengers, which is a fantastic little scene there. You've got a nice little who's who. You've got Professor X sitting there in the middle. And they are all gathering together to discuss the issue. The issue of Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. And so they are posing the question. We need to decide the fate of Wanda Maximoff. So this is being put forth by Professor X. So then it cuts to Wanda. And this is Quicksilver. He's sprinted back. He's telling his father Magneto, who's the parents of both Wanda and Quicksilver here, that they are going to kill her. My sister, your daughter, they're agreeing to kill her. Why else would they meet? So, he's so fast. He runs back while they're still having this meeting. He doesn't stay to listen to the whole thing. He just assumes, oh yeah, they're why else would they be there? They're going to kill her. They're talking about her. They're going to kill her. And so you get some back and forth there. And as you would expect with this whole team there are some who are very much for the idea of going and getting rid of this threat. There are some who are adamantly against it. Captain America, I won't even entertain the thought. Emma Frost, of course. What does there say? Put her down. Spider-Man, wittingly responds, put her down. What is she, a dog? That just some great lines in there. And so in the first issue, this is what we're establishing, that there is an issue going on. And now things have to be dealt with Wanda. And so they are heading to Genosha, which is an island that had been decimated previously in one of the storylines. I haven't read that one yet myself. I need to figure out which one it is, where that all happens, because I definitely want to read the Genosha story. But they get there. Of course, Quicksilver was able to be there first. So they went there with the intent of, we're going to talk it over with her. The Avengers are going first. She's part of our team. Some of the backstory right before this, I believe, in Avengers Disassembled. She kind of goes rogue. She loses it and ends up killing one of the members of the Avengers. I'll leave that to you to find out who it is. So she's gone off her rocker. She's a threat. And so they're going to go and talk to her. There's nobody there. And so then we conclude the issue here, issue 1, with Spider-Man. All of a sudden he's got big, wide opening light. And he wakes up. Okay. Peter Parker wakes up. And you can see right here, from the color of that hair, an issue. That right there is Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy has not been alive for many, many years. But, of course, in this world, we have things like Miss Marvel is famous. We have Cyclops and Emma Frost are happily married. Kitty Pryde is teaching students. We have a whole bunch of stuff. And we get to a point where, in this one, trying to find it. Okay. So, we get to a point where we cut to Wolverine. Where Weapon X. He wakes up, he's with Mystique. Okay. She said, "What is wrong with you today?" And Wolverine is panicking. He's running out. You can see there's a shot of Toad, and not sure who that is, but he's essentially leading S.H.I.E.L.D., as you can see right there. And so I'm not going to talk about any more of that. So we have established there's an issue in issue 2. All these people that went to go and visit Wanda have now entered into a reality where what would make them happy is theirs. Peter Parker never lost Gwen Stacy. Emma Frost and Cyclops, well, they're together and Jean's no longer an issue in the middle of them. There's a image in there of Cyclops, or not Cyclops, Colossus at home in Russia. He never ran into needing issues, so he's home with his family. And so all of that catapults into a forward spiral here on House of Hell. So at this point in time, I'm going to just sum it up in saying that I really did enjoy these. I enjoyed the Astonishing X-Men tremendously more. This is a lot of action driven through communication. There's not a lot of high action, although it does eventually get to a point where there's big action sequences, but they are far later in the last 2 issues, where you're going to have just a bunch of action panels going. But by and large, a lot of this is storytelling through narrative, through interaction, through dialogue, rather than through, oh, we've got this issue that we've got to suddenly take down. But it does have a lot of cameos from a lot of different people. Avengers and X-Men. And so that makes it really fun. So I would definitely recommend checking out House of M. It's relatively reasonably priced. It's possible your library might even have a copy for you to check out. I did enjoy this. And it does have a big impact because I'm about to talk spoilers here. So, Wolverine realizes the problem because all of a sudden the thing he's wanted more than anything else is to remember. He's had so many experiences, his mind has been wiped so often that he's always wanted to remember his past. And suddenly he remembers everything, and that freaks him out. So he goes around, and all of a sudden there is a person who is able to wake people up conveniently. Layla. So her power, the green eyes there, she's waking people up from their delusion, from being caught in Scarlet Witch's grasp there. And so they're going around, they're waking people up. They need to find Charles Xavier, of course. It says there on the inscription, he died so Genosha could live. Well, that's Magneto there mourning him. And all of this is leading up to House of M, where there's going to be this big old production. Lots of people are coming to celebrate with the Magneto and his family. Basically, the world is one that is dominated by mutants, where it's being run by the mutants. So Magneto got what Scarlet Witch assumed was his wish. He's suddenly in charge. He is the head honcho. He's top dog. Without his all too often foil of Charles Xavier to get in his way. And there's people like Dr. Doom are coming to visit, and Intergalactic. So you got some of the Kree, and the Avenger that had died was Hawkeye. And so early on, it runs into an uncomfortable moment where they tell him, Hawkeye, what are you doing here? I mean, you died. And you're dead. You can't be here. Big issue there. So, of course, there's a fight going on. I'm trying to find a good panel here. Before that, you have scenes with Quicksilver, with Wanda, and Quicksilver saying, they're coming to kill you. We need to stop this. And she's saying, they're probably right to come and kill me. I can't control myself. I'm not able to do this. But Pietro, Quicksilver, goes renegade. He is determined to keep this all going. So finally, Wanda's getting out of control. I can't control this. And so we have this big panel of all these little snippets of scenes. And then this ends. And we have Magneto coming to challenge Quicksilver. What have you done in my name? So we have the death of Quicksilver right here. Magneto crushes him within rocks. And of course, Scarlet Witch reacts. She's upset, of course. Even when you get what you want, you're still this horrible man. We're not the next step. We're not gods. We're freaks. Look at us, Daddy. We're freaks, mutants. You chose this over us, and you ruined us. And that leads to the devastating effect that she utters. No more mutants. Big shining light. Big explosion blast there. Ending issue 7. And so we get to issue 8, where there's a kind of a small ramification. And so, apart from a select few, mutants have been wiped out now. So Scarlet Witch, rather than just altering reality, she has changed, she has permanently changed things and wiped out this mutant gene. And this is going to have ramifications for years. The next storyline I'm reading, one of the next ones, is the Messiah Complex, which takes place a couple years after this one. And there still has not been a mutant born. No new mutants since House of M. And so they are dwindling in number. Every loss is catastrophic. I think one of the storylines along the lines between there is called the 198. So there's 198 mutants left alive. And that is huge an impact on this world. And part of me wishes I had the omnibus for the House of M, as much as it pains me to say that. So this is the 8 issues of House of M. But there's a whole bunch. So the omnibus, I've seen some people showing the omnibus. It has these 8. And then after that, it has, an issue or 2 of Hulk, an issue or 2 of Spider-Man. Like all of these other storylines that have happened right after this, showing the after effects of No More Mutants. And so, big repercussions from it. And as a story, as a whole, I really, really enjoyed this. So there you go. We have Mutant Mondays. Steve Donahue may or may not talk about this on his own channel. We'll see what happens. He's threatened to join me, and I've welcomed him along. So stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the return of Jean Grey. I don't have it down with me, but it's a 5-issue little series that is quick to knock out so that I can continue to just slowly savor the Messiah complex. And since I'm checked it out from the library, I want to get to that as well. So my first 40 before 40 has been a success. I really enjoyed it. So there you go. I will catch you later.